उनके साथ रह रहे कि नहीं ये भी बस वो। हाँ हाँ ये पता चला ये बताइए
to everyone present here. So I would like to welcome everyone who are present here and on the iBridge platform. I am Antonia Susei. We are the moderators for this event. We are grateful and delighted to see all of you here to attend the event organized by Good Shepherd International Foundation Nepal and Opportunity Village Nepal, along with Good Shepherd Sisters from Central East India, Nepal. We focus on the prevention of human trafficking and promotion of entrepreneurship. Our collaborators for the event are IOM Sri Lanka, Mighty Nepal, Amrat Kalitakum India, Caritas Bangladesh, Kim India, and Kalitakum Pakistan. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome all of you on this beautiful afternoon. We appreciate and acknowledge your valuable time. Another world is possible. That is the theme of the World Social Forum, which fills everyone with hope for a better future. WSF 2024 provides a space for all to raise collective voices and express solidarity against injustice, racism, and war, and to promote justice, peace, equity, and the protection of the planet. Don't we all no to injustice? I believe all of us gathered here are drawn by love and passionate for justice.
We are hosting this event to raise our voice against trafficking and to be a voice for trafficked survivors. The theme for the event is Breaking Chains, Building Future, a South Asian approach for the reintegration of trafficking survivors. Human trafficking remains a serious and a universal issue, affecting millions globally, with South Asia being one of the regions significantly impacted. Breaking Chains, Building Future seeks to address the urgent need for effective reintegration strategies for survivors of trafficking in the South Asian context.
This event envisions a better future for trafficking survivors to rebuild their lives with resilience. Through collective action, education, and advocacy, we aim to eradicate trafficking and create a future where South Asia stands as a beacon of hope, justice, and compassion. Let us create a safe space and be united for a better world. Together, we are stronger, and together we can make a difference. Let's repeat.
Together we are strong. Village Nepal to chair the event. I would also like to welcome our keynote speaker, Anuradha Koirala. Likewise, I would like to also request Sister Taskila, one of the keynote speaker of the event. Along with that, I would also like to welcome our panelists, Sister Meera from India, Sister Meera from India, Indra Bhattai from Nepal,
ये देखें कि 12 हैं लेकिन मेरे पास आ नहीं रहे इतने
event. Welcome to you all.
हैं, पार्टिसिपेंट 12 हैं, वो लिखा हुआ है। दोबारा करना पड़ेगा जी। हाँ, एक मिनट चेक करूंगा।
I would also like to welcome Sam from India, who is the puppet expert for this event. Welcome Sam for the event. So I would also like to acknowledge the presence of all the participants who have provided their time to attend this conference, especially former president of National Network of Shaper Migration. I would also like to welcome Ashok Shah for the event. Thank you for your time.
Sister Amala, please, I have Sam. Thank you, Sister Amala.
Now I would like to request the President of Opportunity Village Nepal, Ms. Sano Amate, for the welcome remarks.
Okay, thank you, Sister Taskila and to his wife. Very good afternoon. Namaste, Pranam, Jazadapa to all of you. Today marks a new and auspicious day, embracing the coming of the dawn following even the darkness of nights as demonstrated once again. किनकि हामी सबैलाई थाहा छ, भनाइ छ, रात जतिसुकै लामो भए पनि दिन अवश्य आउँदो रहेछ. Now the day has come. No, that's why we are here today. Since 2001, various entities including civil society, non-government organizations, formal and informal social movements, and campaigns for solidarity and harmony have convened to observe the World Social Forum. This year, the World Social Forum convenes in Kathmandu from February 15 to 19, 2024, expecting the participation of activists from all around the world. The event encompasses 13 themes aimed for fostering a peaceful, justful, and improved world for better tomorrow. Today, our gathering celebrates the World Social Forum 2024 under the theme Breaking Chains, Building Future, a South Asian approach to reintegrating trafficking survivors. श्रृङ्खला तोड्दै भविष्य निर्माण गर्दै ट्राफिकिङ सर्भाइभरहरूलाई पुनः समावेश, पुनः एकीकरण गर्ने दक्षिण एसियाली दृष्टिकोणलाई मान्यता राखेर आज हामीले यो उपस्थित भएका छौँ. OVN is hosting a panel discussion on it. यसै विषयलाई लिएर we are very known about this. OVN is going to organize this panel discussion, and here I am today for just to say welcome to all of you. So I am delighted to extend a warm welcome to everyone on behalf of OVN and OVN Opportunity Village Nepal, Shubha Avasar Nepal. The name itself very sound, very beautiful, very clearful. Shubha Avasar Nepal. So on behalf of the Opportunity Village, I would like to extend my gratitude and welcome to all of you. And we know it very well what Opportunity Village is, even though just I want to highlight the two lines about the OVN. Opportunity Village Nepal of Good Shepherd Sisters is a non-government and a non-profitable organization that was established in 1998 and registered in the Kathmandu District Administration Office. It aims to promote the welfare of women, young girls and children, especially those living on the margins and experiencing exploitation and the discrimination. Its main areas of intervention are education, health, skill training, and advocacy. Opportunity Village focuses on the 4 P strategies intervention. That one is prevention, protection, prosecution, and the advocacy. The awareness works with children, youth, and women who are particularly at risk of being trafficked, sexually exploited, and survivors of human trafficking, including those suffering from poverty, and empowers them to live their lives independently and with dignity and respect. हो हामी सबैलाई सम्मान कदरका साथ हामी आत्मनिर्भर बनाउन चाहन्छौँ। यो नै अपर्च्युनिटी भिलेजको मुख्य उद्देश्य रहेको छ, हामी सबैलाई थाहा छ। So first of all, I would like to welcome Miss Anuradha Didi today, and she is the keynote speaker. So even she is not present here because of her health, so I would like to welcome on behalf of our group. And likewise, we have very dynamic lady, the Reverend Sister Taskila. She is here as a keynote speaker, so heartily welcome to you, Sister Taskila. And she is the country representative of GSI of Nepal. Similarly, I would like to welcome all the panelists, and here Mrs. Monali Don, Head of Protection Unit International for Migration Sri Lanka, Albino North, Regional Director Caritas Bangladesh, Sister Meera, National Coordinator of AMRAD India, Sister Rosie Yakub, National Coordinator of AMRAD Pakistan, in the Rajbhat tribe, Nepal Coordinator KIM India. So once again, heartily welcome to all of you. Likewise, I would like to welcome our moderator, Sister Antonia, Society Director of OVN, and Vikas Tungana Bhai, the Program Coordinator of OVN Nepal, and all attendees, including NGO representatives, members of media, students of St. James College, youth beneficiaries, international delegates from the World Forum of the Theology and the Liberation, sisters and staffs from India, whether present physically or virtually. I extend a warm welcome to each one of you. यहाँ सबैलाई हार्दिक अभिवादन स्वागतम भन्न चाहन्छु. And I would like to convey my best wishes for a productive panel discussion. Lastly, but certainly not least, let us all affirm together with conviction, yes, another world is possible. Sabaiले भनौं, yes, another world is possible. Yes, another world is possible. हो विश्व अर्को विश्व सम्भव छ. हो अर्को विश्व सम्भव छ. हामी सबैजना मिलेर अर्को विश्वको परिकल्पना गरौँ, एक्सनमा जाउँ. Thank you very much, and again hearty welcome to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your inspiring welcome speech. The loudest cry in the world goes often unheard. The cry of trafficking survivors. Let us have an open mind to listen, an open heart to understand, and an open will to take collective action. Human trafficking is an inhuman crime. Today, our presence and our collective efforts matter to stand against human trafficking. Let us welcome Sam from India to present the challenges faced by the trafficking survivors through the puppet show. It's a real story. We hope it evokes your emotions. Let's put our hands together to welcome Sam from India to present puppet show. you, Viola, for taking courage to share your story here. Yes, our voice matters. Another world is possible only when we bring justice to the survivors like Viola. Now I invite our keynote speaker, Sister Taskila Nicholas, the country representative of Good Shepherd International Foundation, Nepal, to express solidarity with Viola and all those who suffer like her. Past 13 years, Sister has been involved in combating human trafficking and advocating for their rights, the rights of young girls and women. Our voice matters. Let's welcome Sister Taskila to inspire and influence us with her valuable insight. Let's welcome Sister Taskila. Thank you. Looks like I'm in the pedestal. Yeah. But just now we listen to the very bitter experience of Viola. Can we pause for a moment? Remember human trafficking survivors and women and children who are at risk of being trafficked. This is the experience resonates with millions of women, children who are being trafficked. In ILO report 2020 says that 25 millions of people, women and children, are trafficked every year worldwide. So you can see the gravity of the issue, the seriousness of the issue of human trafficking. And Nepal is a source, origin and a destination country for human trafficking. Trafficking in Person report by National Human Rights Commission in Nepal 2019 says that 35,000 people are expected to be trafficked. So in every year, minimum or more than 35,000 people from Nepal are being trafficked. And it says 1.5 million people are at risk of being trafficked. They are vulnerable to trafficking. We are in this situation, and you see human trafficking is an organized crime. In order to address this issue, we need to join hands together. And if you look at the government of Nepal, I am talking in the context of Nepal, the efforts made by government are insufficient. They are not able to meet the standards of Human Trafficking Act. So we, the civil society, responsible citizens, are called to fight against human trafficking. Can we put hands together to break the chains the human traffickers have made? As we look at today's situation, we see that to combat human trafficking, we need to have 4P approach, that is prevention, protection, persecution and partnership. And our approach should be systemic. We need to have a systemic approach to combat human trafficking. And if you look at Nepal, in the context of Nepal, there are cases being registered or come to the court, but many cases have been hostile. Because the human traffickers are more stronger than the survivors who are appealing for their justice. And there are no standard operation procedures between origin country and destination countries. Government don't make much effort to make such standard procedures where the human dignity is seen or taken care of. There are gaps in the laws, as all of us know, and there is an absence of survivor-centered approach for reintegration and repatriation. So every case is unique, every human trafficking case is unique. Are we giving importance to persons and their dignity, their justice? So I would like to conclude this keynote with that we need to make effort together, and we need to look forward for a society where there is women and children enjoy human rights, their dignity, and we work together for a journey with them to have a dignified life. And all of us together, we will also fight for an economy without human trafficking. If there is an economy without human trafficking, everybody will enjoy human rights, everybody will enjoy freedom, and every woman, child, and all those who are at risk of being trafficked or at risk of being trafficked will enjoy their life to the full. So we together work to break this chain of human trafficking, the chain that human traffickers have made, joining hands together, and as everybody's slogan, another world is possible together if we work. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Taskila, for enlightening us with your wonderful insights. Thank you so much for that. Now we are going to step into another part of our event. Dear participants, stay awake and alert for the panel discussions. We have 5 panelists present from Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. So we'll be having 3 rounds of questions. 2 will be addressed to the speakers of the respective countries, and 1 will be addressed to the audience for the open floor. Each speaker will receive 3 to 5 minutes of time, and after every 3 minutes, Sister Hema will show the sign for the time. So every speaker are requested to complete their speech within 5 minutes of time. So I would like to move further to introduce our first panelist, Mr. Indraraj Bhatrai. He is the Nepal coordinator of Keen India. He is a campaigner for social justice who has taken his campaign to hundreds of local governments of Nepal. He is the founder of Keen India and contributes for the rescue repatriation of women and children as Nepal coordinator. He has been working as a consultant in the Ministry of Women, Children and Senior Citizens. He has worked as a member of National Committee for Controlling Human Trafficking, the highest body to work against human trafficking in Nepal. He was awarded for his remarkable work in rescue and community sensitization by Nepal government. The International Social Service Award, he has also received it. So Mr. Indraraj Bhatrai, could you please enlighten us with the current practices in Nepal for the reintegration of trafficking survivors? We are particularly interested in understanding the psychosocial, economic and legal dimension of these practices. The floor is yours, Mr. Bhatrai.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Respected chair of this program, keynote speaker and panelists, as well as all the participants. I like to respect you all to be here in this very serious issue, so that I'm very happy that another world is possible. First thing I like to tell you is human trafficking. Generally people understand it as it was girls trafficking in Nepal. We heard the Nepali women and girls are trafficked to India, especially in Delhi and Mumbai in the past. But the dimensions has been changed lots in these recent days, recent decades. There are lots of dimensions. Maybe the organ trafficking, maybe the surrogacy, or maybe the other steps, like especially these days in the name of foreign employment, lots of Nepali women, Nepali children, Nepali male, or whatever the gender, doesn't matter, everyone is trafficked. Sometimes I'm afraid I also might be trafficked anytime. There is no any guarantee for every individual that we won't be trafficked. Who will be trafficked? Everyone will be trafficked. There is possibility. In the past, the people around the Kathmandu Valley were trafficked in large number. But these days, if somebody asks us, what is the prominent area of trafficking? And my answer is, all over the nation. There is no any limitation in the geography. There is no limitation in the ethnicity or whatever else. So everyone is at risk of trafficking. Sister Taskila presented one report of NHRC that around 35,000 people are estimated to be trafficked every year from Nepal. But if you listen the data from Anti-Human Trafficking Bureau of Nepal Police, there are only about 200 cases registered every year in Nepal. There are lots of Human Trafficking Act we need to amend, because it is not amended from the beginning, as it was first time made in 2064 BS. Still, we are working. I am one of the team member of that amendment group, but still it is not amended. One thing is that. And another thing is, there is a social stigma for the survivors. The society re-victimizes the victims. That's the main reason. If they go for the case registration, they are re-victimized by the society. They are re-victimized by their family. They are not accepted by their family. That's the reason why they don't go for the trafficking cases. Reintegration comes only after rehabilitation. Everybody know it. Our organization, Keen India, is working especially from India in rescue and repatriation of the trafficking survivors. We are working together with GSIF and OBN also. While we bring back to Nepal, then there is rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is a package program for the overall development of the survivors. But I very sadly to say to you that our rehabilitation, especially the skill training in Nepal, is failure. So we have to think very seriously about this issue. Whatever the skill training the survivors get in the shelter, that will not work in their community. and the same cycle will be repeated. And they have to choose the very bad option, sad option in their life. Procedure. Approach to the Nepal government many times that when the survivor comes to the shelter, the survivor has to be supported with some seed money in the bank account, and whenever they stay in the shelter, that will be collected, and at last they will start some business through that seed money. Another thing is the skill I have already told. Another is the follow-up mechanism of the survivor, wherever in the family or the community, is to be made properly. And another is we have to work for the leadership development of the survivor. If we can do this, then only the reintegration can be dignified reintegration. Simple reintegration doesn't work. We need dignified reintegration because the survivors are special people than us. They were the victims, they became the survivors. Now we have to make them the leaders in the community. Then only the dignified reintegration can be achieved. Finally, I want to go with some issues like our country has already ratified Palermo Protocol. Palermo gives us the idea, gives us the authority, gives us the right that a victim has to get compensation in the destination country. If our government immediately made the policy and the laws according to Palermo Protocol, we can claim the compensation to the destination country and our survivors will get the dignified reintegration. Finally, I want to say, those who are here, we have to speak very loudly that justice delayed is justice denied. We have to give justice immediately to them. The court has to give the justice to the survivors in a fast track. I know there are more than 350 trafficking cases in Supreme Court of Nepal. So we have to pressurize the government also. And I finally like to request you all, always feel that every daughters, every trafficking survivors are the family members, our family members. If we feel that, then only another world is possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting us. And of course, today's world, no one is spared. Now, I move on to the next speaker, Sister Meera, the National Coordinator of Amra Taritakum, India, Nepal. She is a passionate social activist and a visionary in empowering the marginalized section of the society. Sister Meera, could you please enlighten us on the current practices in India for the reintegration of trafficking survivors? Now the floor is yours. Please go ahead, sister.
Can you hear me? And you can see me also. Yeah. Good evening, sisters and brothers. I'm asked to speak on existing practices in India regarding the reintegration of trafficked survivors. That takes me back to in '79 when I was handed over a woman, perhaps a 24-year-old, with a girl of 6-year-old child. She was brought and in a few of the sister, please take care of this lady and the child. I didn't know what to do. Then I took her at the home, kept the home there. Then I was to get a job in the school, put the child in school study. Later I discovered this girl was actually escaped from a brothel and was brought there. So sitting there with a covered head, in India they sit with the covered with the sari and all this, sitting. It always comes to my mind. A woman, for that matter, a person who was trafficked, is almost lost, almost losing every ground, but there is no one for them to look up to. Their family is away, they are in a world which is not of their own, but they are, you said they're trafficked, yes. They are a person, when they come back to, we always look down as the name. As Indra said, no, this social stigma is always attached to. We always look at, not only the untouchable to, oh, she is that, oh, she's from there, oh, he is that, he's that. No, we take them away, or there is something. But we don't realize it is an utter failure of a system of our governance in our country that has failed to secure a woman or a man or a boy or a girl or a child with the security and with the all safety measures and safe at home. Because we have failed. We means the governance as we have failed. We ask this, we have so many laws, we have so many protocols, everything we have, but we have failed to secure that for a child, for a person. And today it is on the increase. We have in our country short stay homes. Many of our Amrit members are present here. They do have short stay homes, reintegration of the girls victimized, or we don't call victimized, who are survivors, brought to, and they are being given a psychological support, counseling. It's not just counseling they require a depth counseling, sometimes they require a psychiatric counseling, they require a medication, there need to be a long-term rehabilitation they require to be, they need to be empowered, need to be on their feet. Let them be less self-reliant at first, it takes time. It's not just a short stay. If you think of the person brought back here within 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's all right. Never. It's never going to be. A wound is a wound. A wound cannot be just healed within a 1 or 2 days, no. So it takes longer time. So our government, we do not have that kind of a structure yet. Though the short stay homes we have there, but we have a lot of problems we are faced by, because even the private NGOs that run these such homes have been asked to close down because of interference by the vested interest groups or political parties or whatever it may be. But there is a biased mindset that we are not able to run a secure home for a children, minor or elders. We utilize a lot of inspections now and then. Even if we produce everything, somebody is always found out. So it is really a question mark. How are we going to sustain this women or men who are being trafficked? When they come back, to how will they be accepted back? To all the stakeholders, family members, we need to prepare them, get back to their own society, community they come from, the state they come from, because we are multicultural. We also get people from the other countries. Even then how the embassies, how the families, they respect them or accept them back. If not, even embassy cannot take the citizen back. So there's a lot of things are concerned in that. So there is a psychologically, we need to prepare a person at every level, and all the stakeholders. And along with it, we need to prepare our own government. How do we take such laws? We have many laws in our country. So just going to about 300 years back, when the Slavery Act over 300 years ago, but that was outlawed. 1 minute left, and so on. Oh, sorry. Okay. Now what I must speak to you. Yeah. So, however, so these preparations have been short stay, or the children for the health, medical care, and their environment, which is not a friendly home-friendly or a children-friendly places. That we need to look into. I think second question come to that. Yes. So the framework of legal framework that are there, but that are not being really implemented, so that we're able to be practiced and to be aware always the people. Maybe a minimum 25% we are able to handle that. And so.
Thank you, Sister Meera, for your wonderful sharing. Now I would like to introduce our third speaker. She is Miloni Dawn. She is an attorney at law who leads IOM Sri Lanka Protection Unit, managing programs on counter-trafficking and safer migration. With expertise in human rights and refugee protection, she has extensive experience in counter-trafficking and has contributed to national strategic action plans. Miloni has facilitated the return and reintegration of missions, demonstrating her. Put our hands together to welcome Miloni, who is present virtually from Sri Lanka. Ms. Minoli, what are the correct effective practices in Sri Lanka regarding the reintegration of trafficking survivors? The floor is yours, Miloni. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Joining from different time zones, a very good afternoon, a very good morning to all of you. I hope everyone can hear me. Okay. Yes, okay, I'll proceed then. Thank you very much. So I'm sharing my experiences from Sri Lanka. I work for IOM, the United Nations Migration Entity, and I have been working with directly with victims of trafficking as well as through partner organizations in Sri Lanka. Now, if I'm to talk about the context related to reintegration in Sri Lanka, first of all, I must explain a little bit about the legal landscape. Sri Lanka has ratified the Palermo Protocol, and the Sri Lankan legislation is largely in line with the Palermo Protocol, which is the penal code. It's a criminal offense in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka also has the National Strategic Action Plan to monitor and combat human trafficking, which has a separate section on protecting victims. There is a standard operating procedures on the identification, protection, and referral of victims of human trafficking. So you can see that there is a lot of government-endorsed policies, national strategic action plans that strengthen the existing landscape, counter-trafficking landscape in Sri Lanka, as well as the context to protect victims of trafficking in Sri Lanka. So the frameworks are not solely sufficient. We also have to focus on the actual implementation. There can be very nicely formulated policies, but if the implementation by different stakeholders is not up to the standard required, and if it's not contributing to the reintegration, sustainable reintegration of the survivors of trafficking, that's going to be an issue. So far, I think the National Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force, which currently comprises of about government ministries and departments, about 21 ministries and departments in Sri Lanka, significantly contributes to the prevention, protection, prosecution, and partnership, the 4 pillars. And this particular National Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force is led by the Ministry of Defense. So there are different government entities, stakeholders. It can be law enforcement, police, criminal investigations department. It can be the judicial medical officers, the Attorney General's department addressing the legal aspect. And there are different stakeholders, child protection authorities, foreign employment related authorities to regulate this counter-trafficking landscape, as well as to support the reintegration of victims. Now, if I'm to talk a little bit more about the practical aspect, The reintegration, as you know, human trafficking itself is a very complex issue. A lot of Sri Lankans migrate for employment in other countries. It's a country of origin and to a lesser extent a country of destination and transit for human trafficking. A lot of Sri Lankan migrate for employment. So people can be subjected to different forms of human trafficking. It can be forced labor, it can be sexual exploitation. Sri Lankans can go abroad and be subjected to different forms of trafficking. And also foreigners can be trafficked to Sri Lanka for different purposes. And there are novel and emerging forms of trafficking called trafficking for forced criminality, where a lot of Sri Lankans have been trafficked in the East Asian region for cyber scamming related intervention activities. So when we're talking about reintegration, you can see it can be maybe a person could have been trafficked for years, or it can be months, it can be weeks sometimes. But the outcome, the impact, the adverse impact that it creates on a victim is beyond explanation. The impact, the adverse or negative consequences, it's the same. So when we are providing reintegration, we have to look at the immediate, medium, and long-term aspects of reintegration. As soon as the victim is rescued or the survivor is rescued, as soon as the person escapes from the trafficking situation, we need to think about the immediate assistance. It can be medical support, it can be immediate counseling, food, non-food items. That's the immediate support that they require. And then we have to focus on the medium and long-term support, which of course involves the reintegration. For reintegration to be sustainable, I believe it's really important that it's not only one single entity. Entity cannot work in silos. We have to work together. It's not only the government's responsibility, the UN entities, the NGOs, and other civil society organizations, the rights activists. We all have to work together to provide sustainable reintegration to these survivors. In terms of economic reintegration in Sri Lanka, the government also does provide some support to some extent, but of course, UN entities, other local stakeholders also have to come together to provide the required support. It can be in the form of vocational training. It can be in the form of uplifting their livelihood in terms of economic reintegration. So what we do is, especially from IOM, we meet the survivor, and we have a discussion, and we develop a very comprehensive reintegration plan looking at the immediate, medium, and long-term needs, as well as the economic, social, and psychosocial aspects of reintegration. We always adopt a survivor-centric approach because it's really important that the survivor's voice is heard, survivor's needs are taken into consideration in the reintegration plan. So once the reintegration plan is delivered, we work together with the survivor to provide sustainable reintegration options. So as I mentioned, it's not only the economic reintegration that we have to focus on. We need to think about counseling. We need to think about the psychosocial aspect and long-term support, access to justice. Many survivors do not come forward to report the crime because of social stigma, because the survivors are scared of retaliation. The survivors are not in a position to come forward and report the crime. So we need to create that conducive environment for the survivors to come forward and report the crime, and to ensure that they have access to justice and they have access to other forms of reintegration. So to conclude, what I want to highlight, strongly emphasize, is that no single entity can work in silos when it comes to countering trafficking and assisting survivors. We all need to work together collaboratively to provide sustainable reintegration options to the survivors of trafficking. Thank you.
Thank you, Minali, for your detailed and very explanation. Minali, for your detailed and very brief explanation about the. I move on to the next speaker, Mr. Albino Nath, the Regional Director of Caritas Bangladesh in Kulana region. He ensures comprehensive well-being and reintegration with expertise in strategy development, He empowers survivors to rebuild their lives while preserving their rights. Mr. Nath fosters collaborative efforts with local communities and organizations. His work reflects a deep understanding of socio-economic factors driving migration and trafficking, leading to innovative intervention. Now let's welcome Albino Nath virtually. Mr. Nath, could you please shed light on the current practices in Bangladesh for the reintegration of trafficking survivors? Please go ahead. Please unmute.
From Bangladesh, I think all of you hear me. Is it?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. So thank you very much. So now I'm starting. All of you, that almost 10 million Bangladeshi migrants work all over the world, and among them, 90% of stay in Middle East countries, like Saudi Arabia, Qatar. And a fine of not less than 50,000 Bangladeshi BDT Taka. So this is the overview from the government actually to overview and monitor the situation of the law enforcement. But the government is not all from all the corner and all the aspect of Bangladesh to monitor every situation. So all development partners are working. And Caritas Bangladesh also providing this support to the most vulnerable and affected community in Bangladesh. So at a glance, I want to share some information. Around 27,000 Bangladeshi women and children have been forced into prostitution. Around 40,000 children from Bangladesh are involved in prostitution in Pakistan. Over 1 million women and children were trafficked out of the country in the last 30 years, and many of them were forced to become prostitutes, helps, camel jokers, and beggars. A UNICEF report says that approximately 400 women and children in Bangladesh are victims of trafficking each month. So, considering all over the situation, Caritas Bangladesh takes some intervention, how actually we provide support for the victim peoples. And in this case, actually, we identify some push factor and pull factors, actually, why this kind of trafficking actually are happened. And we found that urge to escape economic hardship, urge to escape abuse, home environment, step parents, dysfunctional family, gender discrimination and social exclusion, social acceptance of child labor. And the pull factors, we found fake promise of jobs by traffickers, fake promise of marriage by traffickers, illusion of better life in the cities, illusions of a safe work, illusions of escaping abuse from homes. So, considering the overall situation, actually, we are practicing some good intervention with the community to overcome all of these challenges. And the most existing good practices are identification and register, first of all, the survivors. And then we actually take an initiative for counseling service and actually, first of all, to analyze the cases, because different victims has different cases. Engage the survivors in social service. So we identify the most potential victims, actually those who are eligible and can give us some effort from their end to involve them in the social activities. We are also providing some career counseling, and at least 90% identified survivors are now in local job market. We also provide some entrepreneurship skill development training. Besides, we are also providing personal counseling. We are also referring them to the government counseling services. We are also providing family counseling and also community counseling to increase the acceptance of the victims. We also, besides, we also are providing the health services because some of the victims are actually the return from the different countries, and their physical condition actually is not good. Already Minolis raised some issues that the victims don't want to share actually their information and their situation. So in this regard, actually, we recommend them to near the government hospital, medical college hospital, and there is some other NGO intervention operated clinic. We provide them the medical support to overcome these challenges. And we also providing some skill development training, and beside we also providing some cash grant to start IGA entrepreneurship activities to overcome the challenges and the mental illness. Beside, we think that there is some good practices. Actually, we have an idea like provide support to get interest-free loan for entrepreneurship activities. Bangladesh government launches some cash grant support through the commercial bank for especially those who are returning migrants. So this bank actually providing financial support, and the government didn't take the interest. So the victims can easily access the services, and they can, after receive the training, or they can start easily to receive the cash grant and start the IG initiative. We also operating regular communication over mobile phone, because every time it is difficult to reach them. But through the mobile services, actually we take the we news from actually them, we follow up the cases, and we also monitor the updated. Develop the leader survivors. We are trying to identify one or two leaders among the survivor groups, and this group leader actually are receiving lots of training, and they are united. They are building some cooperative system where they actually depositing some money, and through that money actually decide this is their savings for their future sustainability and to meet up the future need actually. We also, 6 months later, we also ensure the group discussion with the community, with the local government service provider, like the Women's Department, like the Youth Department, the social services officers. We also arranging the community counseling, beside the psychosocial counselor under the project, beside also the government council officer, those who are trained on this regard, they actually provide this kind of counseling services. We also at world level, in Bangladesh actually, yet we are not made up the policy level, but under the project intervention, we actually developed and formed the counter trafficking committee at world level under the Union Parishad. So this committee actually doing to ensure the safe migration, because if any people want to go to abroad for some kind of job, actually first they have to register in the local ward office, and actually the ward office responsible actually identify the process is authentic or not. They also communicate their job visa and the other facilities is okay or not. They also align with the government track offices, and then actually after getting the signal, actually then they give permission to the people to that they can do the job or not. So this kind of trafficking committee are providing service at community level to reduce the trafficking cases. In future, we have some recommendation that establish specialized counseling and therapy programs tailored to the unique needs of the trafficking survivors. These programs should offer trauma-enforced care, addressing issues such as post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, and feelings of shame and guilty. Train mental health professionals and social workers in trauma-enforced care to promote effective support to the survivors. We are also proposing some economic empowerment component, provided vocational training and skills development program to equip survivors with marketable skill. We also recommended that facilitate access to job placement services and ensure equal opportunities for employment. Some legal assistance services will be beneficial for the victim community, and their community engagement and social reintegration will be more effective for their social reintegration. So this is our recommendation. Thank you for giving us time to present this thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albino, for your invaluable insight. Definitely we will hear more from you on the recommendation part. Now let's join to Pakistan and welcome Mr. Sister Rosie from Pakistan, who serves as the principal of school dedicated to preventing human trafficking, possesses expertise in networking and collaboration. Sister Rosie, could you kindly enlighten us on the current effective practices in Pakistan for the reintegration of trafficking survivors? Sister Rosie, the floor is yours.
I don't know if you can see me because I am not visible on the screen. Hello?
We can see you. Sister, we can see you. Please go ahead.
Okay. A very good day to all of you who are listening me today. I'm delighted to be the part of this global forum. In my presentation, I will dwell deep into the serious current issues regarding the reintegration of the human trafficking. We will also propose some holistic recommendation crucial for resolving and trafficking in our country. Pakistan has a very, very clear stand on human trafficking. We will like to share what are the major causes of human trafficking in Pakistan. Poverty is a great, unemployment, all are degree holders because of the economic and social and political issue. All our degree holders are with their degrees, they are searching for job. Once they don't get the job, they go out and they look out and they get trapped in the hands of the trafficker. Then oppression of women and children and illiteracy, especially the rural area. And also, I would like to share main concern of what the current effective practices regarding the integration of survivors. From victim to survive is a long journey and also a set life to live. And we are aiming at providing the opportunities to our survivors. Human trafficking is a hidden crime, which so much is spoken of in the society, but very little is done. I would like to say what my government is doing. The Constitution of Pakistan has banned the forced labor, slavery, and human trafficking in our country. The government must take all the necessary actions to safeguard its people, especially children and women. We cannot deny that so far the government of Pakistan has taken some steps to address human trafficking issues, and by issuing the ordinance in 2002 for the prevention and control of human trafficking, additionally criminal law amendment was introduced in 2011, 2016, and 2020 to raise awareness and provide support and service to the trafficked victims. So far, what the government has resolved, that is, we strengthen the legislative and policy framework and we help them to keep it, then take affirmative action to increase women and children's and especially the young girls' participation in different institutions where they are kept busy and they earn suitable earnings and they provide themselves for, and they don't fall into the hands of the trafficker. Then justice institution and judiciary, finance, we also work on the enhancing the capacities in identification, investigation, and prevention and protection of the victims. We increase gender and age gender differences data. We collect the government collects the data, and then we all are trying to increase the capacity of the children and the women so that they don't fall into the, and then there is a national action plan. And so far, I shall start by sharing with you what our government's response has been, and it has not yet completed and it has not been fulfilled. Please allow me to share the role of NGOs, the civil societies, and to integrate the victims' survivors. The Human Rights Commission of Pakistan has worked hard to rescue the boys being smuggled to Saudi Arabia for camel and horse riding. The Good Shepherd nuns and the FMCK sisters work hard to provide shelter, education, and skill training on young girls from the broken homes of our society, offering them moral and financial support. And we train them so much that they are now standing and holding big jobs in our society, and thus they are protected and safeguarded from the traffickers. Talitakum Pakistan, a network of religious sisters, bishops, and priests, play effective role in approaching and supporting the human trafficking victims and their integration. We arrange seminars, webinars, and awareness sessions for children and in the schools and on church because they are at great risk. And we visit the schools and institutions and give them the awareness sessions, and we collaboratively work for it. We believe that training young minds to stand up for themselves in such situation, we have also designed curriculum to be introduced in the school so that in primary section, so that the children are aware of their risk of falling, of the bad touch and good touch and falling the victims. And we have also the youth of our society, as they have got significant role to play in their own lives as well as in their families and societies. We have, with the growing uncertainty of their job opportunity as a political and financial situation of our country is going down, we train the youth so that they are forced. Hello.
You can
Yes.
share recommendation, no? So you have.
I cannot hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. I cannot hear you. So
Yes,
it's not clear. Your
can
voice.
hear you. We can hear you. Your time is up, so you can share later the recommendation, sister.
Okay. So recommendation, I would like to hand over to our Ali. So he has got something to say on that point. Yes, Ali. Yes, Ali. Yes, Ali. Hello.
Yes, sister, I can hear you.
Sister, please
Yes.
go ahead with the recommendation.
Yes, Ali, you have to recommend what
Surely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
First of-
Yeah.
You share the recommendations.
Yes, Ali, please go ahead.
Sure. Thank you very much. First of all, hello and a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from Pakistan. My name is Ali Reza Khan, and I will be presenting the recommendations from Pakistan. So Pakistan is basically is a highly capitalistic society. And if you read newspapers every day, you would know that the inflation rates in Pakistan are going higher every single day, which is one of the major causes of human trafficking. So we recommend that the government, the civil societies, the NGOs, everything else that we mentioned must take up responsibility, have a sense of accountability, and create and establish shelter homes must be substantiated to support and provide victims, especially the women, with a sense of safety. Secondly, we believe that Pakistan being a country where unemployment is common, more opportunities should be provided so that we can have a fresh air of educational, vocational, and skill training platforms where everybody is welcomed and supported. Thirdly, influential members. So Pakistan is a highly monopolized society as well. And I say that not and it's a state error that we are addressing and also giving the recommendation. So we would like to overcome these obstacles by removing those marks, those bleakness of hierarchy. And as our brothers said in the speech, that we have to remove those obstacles and we have to come together unanimously and work towards the betterment of women and children in Pakistan. Thirdly, our caretakers and parents, because social media has become such a harmful medium. More than the advantages, it is having those negative repercussions. So we appeal to the caretakers and parents, and it is one of our recommendations to them that they make themselves aware of the dangers of social media. They educate themselves first and then educate their children, because in recent years, we have seen the cyberbullying, the cybercrime has become an integral part that provides traffickers with an opportunity to make their networks even stronger. So it is up to us as caretakers, as educators, as educationists, as leaders to aware ourselves with the various negative repercussions of social media, and then to pass it on to our children. And then I think, and we could all agree to this, that the power of social media and global forums such as World Social Forum would definitely enhance and reach out to the masses. So we would agree that we all have to use our voices, our platforms in whatever capacity we can to raise the voice, to raise awareness, as many of my brothers and sisters here mentioned in their keynote speech. And then offering psychological support and capacity building, as many of us has mentioned, is also extremely, extremely important. In a retrogressive country like Pakistan, it is the topics such as mental health, human trafficking are considered uncertain or are considered insignificant. They are given the least importance. So we have to prioritize normalizing these conversations. We have to, because that is the basic point. We cannot create any difference without the basic knowledge of the issue that we are addressing. So the general public, the majority of the country needs to be educated. And who is going to do that? Who is going to exponentially, rapidly increase the illiteracy rates or the literacy rates and make people more literate is us. We are the face of our countries. Like, for example, Sister Rosie and I, we represent Pakistan today. We being the leaders, we have to take those initial steps and raise awareness. And so, as I'd like to pass on to Sister, because she had something that she would want to suggest in her conclusion. She wanted to share a quote, and she wanted to relate it with our presentation. Thank you for listening, and I pass on the mic to Sister. Sister, please take over.
We appeal. So we are moving on to the next speaker. Thank you so much, sister, because we have not much time left. Now I move on to the next speaker, Mr. Indra Bhattrai. So, sir, what recommendation could you propose to improve the reintegration approach for traffic survivors in Nepal?
Thank you once again. Overall, in my presentation, I gave some of the recommendations already, but I just like to give only 3 points. As I told, there is no proper policy and procedure of reintegration in Nepal. So we have to pressurize the government to develop this. This is one recommendation. The second one is, in the reintegration policy, there should follow-up mechanism for the survivors so that we can support them psychosocially as well as for their leadership development. That is the second one. And the final one is, there is difficulties in reintegration in some cases because the family and the society don't accept the survivors. So, in that mechanism,
Thank you, sir, for the recommendation. Now, I'd like to move ahead with our discussion, and I would like to request Ms. Minoli for her recommendation. Miloni, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope all of you can hear me. In terms of the recommendations,
I would like to emphasize on the multi-stakeholder collaborative approach. As I mentioned in my previous narrative, I think it's really important that all the stakeholders work together. There should be a strengthened referral mechanism. Now, for example, if a victim is identified and if a victim is rescued and maybe brought before you or an NGO or a government stakeholder, it is not the time for us to start collaborating with or referring the victim to other stakeholders. We need to have proper mechanisms set up to assist victims. So it's really important to build the required networks, maybe between government stakeholders, between local NGOs, INGOs. There are shelters, faith-based organizations that support survivors of trafficking. So do not wait until a victim or a survivor is identified or rescued from a trafficking situation. Build your networks, have collaborative partnerships, and have these stakeholders mapped out and identified so that by the time a survivor approaches you, you have the required networks and support systems in place to assist the victims with survivors without any delay. So that's my recommendation one. And the second recommendation would be, as you are all aware, I mentioned about the social stigma, and sometimes even when you're talking about reintegration, it's really important to see whether the survivor can be sent back or reintegrated back to his or her own community of origin. To the community, because sometimes the traffickers can be around. Not all the traffickers will get prosecuted or convicted immediately. Sometimes the survivor might be returning to an environment where the traffickers are still around and where the survivor can still continue to be threatened, or his or her family can be influenced by these traffickers. So it's really important that the survivor is sent back to an environment that is safe and conducive for reintegration. So it's important to conduct risk assessment, appropriate risk assessment in consultation with relevant stakeholders before the survivor is sent back to his or her community of origin. And the approaches we adopt, thirdly, my recommendation is the approaches that we adopt should be survivor-centric, and their voices need to be heard. It's not about what the NGOs or what different service providers or what other government stakeholders want for the victim or the survivor. It's what the survivor wants in the long run to sustainably reintegrate. So it's really important that the survivor's voice is also heard and that we adopt survivor-centric approaches to effectively reintegrate the survivor to the society. And finally, I would again like to emphasize we as practitioners or stakeholders who come together from different countries, government, non-governmental stakeholders, UN entities, INGOs, NGOs, we are all here listening to each other, sharing our experiences. What is important is that we get to know each other, that we know that there are different NGOs now. Maybe Sri Lankan has been trafficked to Nepal or Sri Lankan has been trafficked to India. We identify the relevant stakeholders, we build our collaborative networks, and we have our support networks, systems in place to effectively support and reintegrate these survivors of trafficking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Noli. Thank you so much. Now I would like to ask Samira to share your recommendation in bullet points.
My first recommendation is the government of India must have a will, a political will to reintegrate the survivor holistically, also take every effort to stop this serious kind of trafficking. Holistic reintegration is the need of the hour, measures to be taken to remove the taboos or the social stigma attached. Facilitate at all levels, psychological, social support, economic should be given till the person is well equipped and is self-reliant and empowered to face the situation. It will be a longer time. Corruption and vested interest of persons who earn huge income by this crime must be punished, prosecuted, take strict actions against them. Justice to be restored to every survivor. Laws and policies that are made by the government must be implemented. We do not lack laws, but it's not implemented. Implementation is lacking. Legal requirements must be carried out without any intervention by the accused party. Judiciary should be take immediate action in prosecuting the traffickers. No discrimination, no gender bias. Anti-human trafficking units that found in about 40% of our districts must be motivated and active, collaborate to take initiative justly. Police and any investigating officers should be well informed and must be willing to take quick action. Promote networking like Amrit Dalitaku India and other like-minded NGOs that we have in India. Those focus on reintegration of the survivors effectively. And the government must take them into confidence, and there must be a partnership between government, because normally the NGOs are the semi-conscious of the government. So the government should take the NGOs into confidence, have dialogue, and then to be able to implement and be able to minimize and eradicate the crime of human trafficking. Reintegration programs never be led the survivor for being re-trafficked, avoid any such laws or loopholes. How to care, empower, and restore want to believe that this must be the motto of reintegration process towards the survivor. The failure of a system or structure of our society that paves way for human trafficking. Hence, it is the responsibility of the government to put the system in place, all policies and laws in place, and then there must be people-centered and not development, so-called inverted commas, development centered. Taking effort, especially for students or children. I think their education must be seen by the government. They should have a well-planned package for them. It can be followed up. Traffic them, employ them with a dignity to give them a better job opportunity and then to involve them. The government should take private sector, and I already told them, then I think that should be enough. Do not address the research to stop. And we also have, one second, we also have anti-human trafficking units set up about 50% of our districts in India by PM Nair and also by the government. If that has to be implemented properly, it has to be followed up, not just to be really, it will be much effective. And the schools and colleges, there are teachers sitting there, I know, they also must be take this as a package that the trafficking is not it's happening in the air, but it's happening from the school itself. Drug abuse, substance abuse, how can we prevent our children from this? That you are one of our focus for the future to be taken. Otherwise, our future at stake. Thank you very much.
Traffickers are also among family members, the relatives, where you are not able to even file a complaint. So that is the situation that we are seeing in the case of women who are trafficked to the Middle East especially. It is the relatives, it's the family members, the old migrants who are going. The wife operates from here, husband is in the other side. So a lot of these experiences. So we have initiated the communities, because all these issues were kept in silence because of the stigma that is attached. Anyone who goes out of the community, you are impure, you may have all kinds of relationship. What we want is your money and not your person anymore. So lots of families are broken up. So we began to bring the returnees together to have dialogue. And we have created that group in the closed door in the beginning it was the closed door, now with the community. Because we need to reintegrate them back into the community, and we have seen a lot of change. And slowly we have created the union of the workers, the migrant workers, especially the women, so that they are informed. The migrant women are informed about the processes, what is the process involved in the whole process of migration, and not get trafficked by the traffickers. Secondly, working with the collaboration with the various departments. It may be the police, the women and child welfare, we have a Tomcom and OMCAP, the government agencies, and also the registered association of the recruiters. So we are working together on that, and we are getting informed, of course, with in collaboration with the government, also on policy advocacy, and we have seen slowly change. Just give you an example. Last month we had a case of a woman who was brought back after 29 years because her trafficker changed her name, her husband's name, everything was changed. And there was not even a stamp on her passport. So she had to, it was with much intervention, difficulty we brought her back. And after that we had another 3 cases in Oman, wherein the trafficker was asking, not giving the phone to the worker, keeping her as ransom, asking for money, 2 lakhs you send, then we will send her back. So what we have done is that the women who returned, they did small stories of change. They made in 1-minute ad, we put that into the embassy, we have put that into YouTube, we put it in social media, and we blocked her from practicing there in Oman. So we were able to rescue at least 5 women in that week itself. We need to we have to become creative, we need to take the help of these women, and we have established Migrant Resource Center, one-stop center, wherein the migrant worker can come and have all information, assistance, and also job. Why are they going? You know, the background, the Dalits, the illiterate, the landless people who have been forced to live because of survival. And even if you bring in law, they are still going because women have ways to find possibility for the family to be provided. So in these situations we are finding, these are some of the ways, and we are also now trying to skill them, place them, and also not the Gulf. There are maybe other places wherein through skill certification they can go and get better employment, and families could also be supported.
Thank you, sister. Thank you for highlighting our issues and the recommendation.
The chain of human traffickers, we, the NGOs, has to strengthen the chains of networking, and then we can break this chain, what we are planning to or what we are aiming at.
Yes, thank you so much, sister. Yeah, we need to strengthen the partnership. Yes. So anyone can go ahead. How can we prevent second generation of trafficking?
Suggestion would be, being in the field of education, children need not to be a dropout through this. Nowadays, the government has brought a rule that when we issue the LC, leaving certificate, we also confirm with the other school whether the child is going to be admitted in that school. So unless and until we get the confirmation letter from the other school, we don't issue leaving certificate. That is one of the ways we prevent school dropouts, and finally where they will become the victims of what we are discussing and talking about till now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sister. Yeah, preventing dropout rates in the school also.
I'm not directly engaged, grassroots work with anti-trafficking, but I sincerely want to express my appreciation to GSIF, OVN, and all the other network organizations. We really feel very strengthened in stretching our humanity, and making us part of the same human family. So whatever we are, I'm not a part of any organization working on this, but I write and definitely I contribute. my share to this.
It means a lot. Thank you for your appreciation. So if anyone want to say, anyone want to go ahead? So the floor is open. Yes, sister.
And then eventually she died, of course. Before dying, the accused was given bail and he was out. And then he influenced her and she became hostile. She changed her statement in the court. And then since she died anyway, then when I had to go to the court hearing once, when I said that, I knew the case, but I didn't get any summons. So I missed all the hearings. But after, my question is, when the victim dies, is everything finished? The accused is still roaming around. All his people are out. Police are coming up. I went to an NGO in Mumbai. I said, can you help me? I heard that you all are working for trafficking. And once they hear that the victim has died, no, all the interest is gone. So my question is, when the victim dies, does the story end? No. Can justice be still be fought and got that accused should be inside? Because he influenced and she became hostile. And the girl, of course, she was HIV age, she didn't have proper family support. And eventually she died. So I feel, and the police who, when she was taken out from home, because of the family fight or something, one lady who's actually who's a trafficker, she posed herself as a savior for that girl. She said, "Tu mere ghar pe aaja, police ko bol, main inke ghar pe chali jaungi karke." And the police allowed her to go to that trafficker's house. Police didn't know. That is how she got into the trap, and eventually this was the story. This is the only case. I don't work directly with trafficking, but this happened. I had worked with HIV/AIDS patients. Because through that, I got through this experience of trafficking, and this was my very sad experience. Till today, I still ask, once the victim dies, does the story end? Thank you.
No. Thank you, sister. The story never ends until the
Sister Taskila and the team, Antonia and the staff for organizing this wonderful session and a lot of awareness that we have gained. And from my own experience, I would like to suggest that we need to also awaken the civil society.
The schools, every school must have this
session. One person is more precious than the whole world.
From Pakistan who initiated this concept of 30,000 migrant women to provide counseling and information safe migration through the Kathmandu International Airport, and also like the increasing use of unsafe media, especially social media, Facebook, Twitter, and unsafe use of internet has really contributed in increasing the human trafficking in developing countries like Nepal. So let us be united and contribute in our own ways against human trafficking. So this is a movement. It's not an activity or just a one-time event or one-time support. It is a movement against human trafficking. So now, at the end, I would like to emphasize that the partnership chain has to be stronger to initiate collective action in combating human trafficking and empowering survivors to build a better future. So I invite Sister Taskila, Sister Tala, Bidur, and ROC. We have made a symbolic chain. So I would like to request them to break this trend, and we all be in solidarity with them. So I will read a sentence, and I would like to request you to follow me. Okay? Okay. Together we are stronger, and together we can make a difference. Together we are stronger. We can make a difference. Another world is possible. Without human trafficking.
Now, Sam will thank the participants with his puppet show. So let's welcome Sam. Please go ahead.
Hello, it's time for us to go back to our own places with the insights and reflections that we got from this meeting. So let us join together and end human trafficking. Let us break the chain. We can be the part. Okay. Yes. We can.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
At the ashram. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. How long